Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman, the podcast that deals with the early life of J.R. Hendrick. And now, an interview of J.R.'s father on the Andrew House Show aboard a private jet on its last leg to Boise, Idaho. The date, November 29th, 1995. Greeting conversations in the fruited plain. This is the Andrew House Show. The first part of this show is being recorded while I'm on a private jet with Entrepreneurial Affairs Agency Administrator James Ryan Hendrick. Jim, how are you? In many ways, better than I deserve. Jim, you are traveling to Idaho Falls, actually. Yes, I am. I understand you're going to be going there for for the Idaho Farmers Convention. I am. Because you and I see the same problem. Yes, we do. Other than the Small Business Lending Enhancement Act, I really haven't seen much out of Clinton. Meanwhile, what's he doing? He's touring around Europe, namely England and Ireland, trying to maintain peace there. While there's nothing wrong with that, I think he should be focusing at the tail end of 1995 on the dang economy. And you see that as a problem. American small agribusinesses are suffering. They're suffering badly. And I'm going to Idaho Falls and Rexburg to try to rectify this situation. And I'm also going to be flying to Boise tomorrow to meet with the governor. And it's time for us to make some changes. You say you will not support Dole if he gets the nomination. Why is that? He is a weak candidate. To some extent, I think that he is so milquetoast moderate, he'll just surrender the election to Bill Clinton relatively easy. Understandable. So you don't think that Dole is strong enough to make the difference in next year in November? He's not. And I would have to be forced to vote for third party. Namely, if he runs, Ross Perot. That is unless you decide to run for president as an independent. Have you considered that, Jim? I ain't going to consider nothing like that until I consult with my family and my wife. That's understandable. You've been through a lot this past year, Jim. The process of your mother-in-law dying of cancer, which she passed away just before Thanksgiving. And no doubt you are suffering. And your family's still suffering from that. But why would you consider possibly running as an independent? The only thing I can think of is that Bill Clinton asked me to do that as a challenge. Even then, I would have to carefully consider that before I'd even try. That's just the way I see it. And if I don't see it's feasible, and it's Dole versus Clinton, and say Ross Perot was to run, I would support him. Now, Jim, you know that Ross Perot is just as much a moderate, if not a little bit more progressive than Dole. You might say that's true, but he is also a man that is a businessman that is for the American economy, whether you want to see it that way or not. He's a fellow entrepreneur. We both made our fortunes in different ways. He's all for education reform and all that. You realize, though, even that, though, with either him or Dole, they would still lose to Clinton. I'd much rather vote for a choke vote that I can live with and lose, rather than consider voting for someone that's just a winner just because that's the will of the people. But isn't it true that you serve the man, not the party? I take to heart the advice of my father-in-law, Jeremy Swain. He said, and I quote, "Don't serve the party. You may serve the man, but never forget you serve this country." I am in service to this country and not in servancy to President Clinton. That's just how I see it. It's a clear and present issue. I have been asked to come to Idaho to see what the government can do for small agribusinesses, but I have regular motives. I am hoping to get the feel of the people of Idaho for field ground, because I failed in Virginia with the governor and his dang deputy assistant for agribusiness. So I'm hoping that Idaho has a little bit better of a feel. No doubt. Now, but you say that Idaho agribusinesses need help. Yes, they need faith-based grants. They need block state grants going in. Those are the things they need. But the problem is right now, it seems like Clinton and the Congress, they're not working on those things. And so, that's where we're dealing with the problem. That's where we're having the problem. And I firmly believe that the fact is, Clinton says he's going to finish the economy. He promised that in the State of the Union in 1995. January had promised for growth. February, it's obvious. It tanked. Even though the beginning of February had problems. March, it was going good for a while, but once again it tanked. The second quarter, April, May, June, I don't see much President Clinton doing anything about that. July, August, and September, nothing. October, nothing. November, during the dang government shutdown, I saw the economy have a slight bump, but not enough to carry us over the hump for this year. You don't think that there's enough growth spur to keep us going? Not this year. So that means if Clinton's going to do anything, he's already voted down welfare reform once. We can't afford to let him try this again. So you see that as a hurt, a problem, something that you deal with yourself, and it can be painful to you. It can be. It will be. But what can I say? I see a country that is hurting. And why? Because of Bill Clinton. He lied to the general electorate when he made all those promises in 92. He lied to the general electorate when he promised to fix the economy. There were some strides in 93, not much. There was hardly anything in 94. 95, had to be honest with you, more of the same. A joke. If anything, it's because, there's been any improvement, it's because he worked with the Republican Congress. And if he says that there's going to be another government shutdown, which I'm predicting he will, I want him to know that after I see him on the 12th, I'm furloughing myself. I'm coming home. And I will stay there until I see fit to come back. Even if he says to come back after Christmas, post haste. You think I care? There could be some unforeseeable events, Andrew. After December 12th, I believe it's going to be my family that needs me. It's going to be my family that needs me. And I ain't going to step down from that. And neither, in many ways, should my family. And you believe that conservative talk radio people are doing their best. You're even considering an audience with Blake Carter tomorrow. I am. I realize his ratings are low, but we got to get the word out. We got to bring true conservatives back in 96. You don't think that Bush was part of that? I said that in 1992. I'm not sure I can say that now. Because look at what we got under with Clinton. It's a mess. It's a mess, and to be honest with you, we shouldn't have to put up with it. You know, you got to think about it. September of this year, beginning, we had a big bump possibility for economic recovery. Then, Senator Cordell Wheeler, in a friendly gesture, or shall I say, hidden possibly friend to me, added the sustainability package I introduced to welfare reform. A very shrewd and dumb idea. Now, I will be introducing it in January. We shall see what that crazy Cordell Wheeler decides to do. Do you think it's going to pass the House? Yesterday, after I got back from meeting with the governor and having lunch and parlor discussions, I called House Speaker Newt Gingrich. They say it will pass the House by December 12th and will be introduced to the Senate on January 16th. And so you stand on that. I stand on that. I support that. The truth is, Clinton is going to lie. He's going to say what he's going to say. And it's a problem. I'm not much of a fan of Clinton anymore. I used to be enamored with him. Jim, when you do return to Washington, I have an understanding you're probably not going to stay there too often. Probably not for a while. I want to see the taxpayers' books. Maybe even give Bill Clinton a further run for the money. To try to get him to force you out. Well, I want you Andrew, to consider this a power game. Alright? A warning, if you will. Because this is important. I don't know what else to say. Except say that I will not run as an independent without consulting with my family. Namely my wife Betsy and my eldest son JR and my daughter Christine. A part of me does not want to run because I do not want to uproot my daughter Christine. Now, the one that would benefit me running for president, and he may have mixed feelings, is my oldest son JR. I think it would tickle him pink to have a president, to be the president's son. However, we don't know how well that goes. Do you think that your son will ever run for public office, Jim? No. He's outspoken, don't get me wrong, but he's too shy. He's too retired. Thing is, I think he needs a little bit more confidence boost before he can even consider doing that. And we all know that. Back to President Clinton. You said you had an audience with him coming up. I received notice about maybe 3 weeks ago by Betty, his secretary, Betty Curry, that I had to meet him at first it was the Oval Office. Now they changed it to the dang Blue Room of all places. At 9 o'clock in the morning on the 12th. After that, I'm going to Lubbock to make a speech. And then I'm going to pick up my son, his cousin. And we're going to have the best Christmas we possibly can under the circumstances. I just want to ask you this, though. If your family and your friends encourage you to run for president, will you? Only after I've determined that Phil Graham can no longer support himself as a candidate to see for the nomination. Now, I know my son will probably support Al Keyes all the way and choke vote for Bob Dole. I can't do that. And I'm kind of hoping that he finds somebody able to dissuade him from doing that same dang thing. Well, I hope to see that way too, Jim. I really do, because it's a huge problem. And we can do so much.
I saw war. I saw bombing. I saw shooting.
Thank you for being part of the Andrew House Show. We'll be back with your phone calls. Take care. And God bless you. And God bless America. Take care. You are blessed. Thank you, Andy. You're welcome, Jim. Looks like we're 21 minutes from landing. Indeed, we are. We better get ourselves together. Yeah, I better get back to my seat. Hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying until next time, get ready for the rest of the story. It gets a little bumpy and interesting from here. Take care, and God bless every one of you. We'll meet next time in a couple of days for the Christmas season beginning. Take care. God bless.